Michael Abood. Yep.
Thank you, Michael Abood from SD 29. I'm here to speak on voter integrity when it comes to the secondary ID process when a voter goes to vote at a polling location. Currently what happens is that anybody can go to a poll location, tell them that they are so-and-so, hand them a utility bill, say, I'm this person, they give them a piece of paper, you sign it, and walk off. 10 hours later, nobody's going to remember who signed that paper. I want the state of Texas to implement an alternate ID so when somebody wants to do that, they can present any ID that has their picture and their name that matches that utility bill and matches the signature they put on it. They can use their school ID, business ID, the companies who fingerprint teachers, or like when I got my concealed carry, those companies can provide those IDs. Even a bus company can provide the ID. We need to do something about this. I'm an election judge. I filed a complaint with the Secretary of State because the Democrat judge allowed somebody to illegally vote during this process. We need to stop it. We need to prevent our elections from being stolen. If we continue down the road we are going, the Democrats are going to steal the elections that they've already started. They've already planned how to do this. That's why they're arguing for it so hard. If we don't do something, all of our elections are going to be stolen. All these other discussions we have are not going to matter because they're going to be running everything again, just like they did under Maul Richards. This panel needs to take more serious consideration about our election laws. Instead of having election integrity at the very end of your committee, it should have been at the very beginning. Have a good day.
Thank you, Mr. Abood. That concludes testimony on government and election integrity. The next topic is national defense and foreign affairs. Ruben Dante, followed by Matt Baker. Is Ruben Dante here?
Mr. Chairman, if you may, I would request as an elected official the ability to speak on the preceding set of topics if that's permissible to you.
Could you identify yourself, please,
Yes,
sir?
my name is Bryan Crist. I am the county chair in Montgomery County.
You're a county chair?
Yes.
Okay, 2 minutes.
Okay. Folks, I am up here to speak regarding the current plank 225 and a variation of it that has surfaced in the platform committee. I look around this room and I see most of you here got here almost exclusively through your precinct convention. Most of you are not precinct chairs. Plank 225 and its variation effectively would say, we don't want the majority of you to have a vote on your county chair. There was a gal that spoke earlier and said the voting and the voice of the people is markedly Republican. I agree with that. I don't believe it's right to take the voice of you away from selecting your county chair on the primary ballot. So I am here to ask you to strike 225 and its variant. Thank you very much.
Ruben Dante? Hey, Ruben.
Hi, my name is Ruben Dante. It's the 11, and I'm here to talk about Foreign Affairs 2020-227 about peace through strength. And the reality is there is no peace so long as war profiteering is allowed. There is a figure that people often associate with the devil. His name is Baphomet. He's doing this to create chaos to then fix it. And when you talk about creating chaos to then fix it, and you associate the nature of the Federal Reserve and the nature of war, it allows one, mainly the Democrats or the Unity Party, to be the perpetrator, judge, jury, arbiter, and then knave or savior for unilateral control of a narrative. And so when you have a money laundering industrial complex, and you have the ability for the Raytheons of the world, which, to clarify my point earlier, SSGA Funds Management is the primary shareholder of Raytheon, who invest mostly in China, and they're profiting from the death of our soldiers in enemy-line territory. So in reality, I think we need to treat war profiteering as treason as a part of that plank, because whenever you're able to profit from war in enemy-aligned territory at the death and expense of our soldiers, and then that money goes back to the Liz Cheneys of the world, they are directly profiting from a one world edict that is profiteering, at the expense and death of our soldiers, and doing so in diametric opposition to the Constitution and we the people. And so banning war profiteering, especially with these corporations being multinational, I believe is the only way to ever accomplish any kind of peace through strength, because there's always going to be an impulse to create war when they can profit from it, again, at the expense of our soldiers. Thank you.
Thank you. Matt Baker.
My name is Matt Baker from Senate District 16. I'd like to thank the committee for hearing my comments. My comment specifically is about the plank titled One World at the top of page 49. This plank in general cites opposition to various one world government initiatives and names the Great Reset at the end of that comment sort of as an afterthought, because it's a very new phenomenon that we've only recently recognized. I believe that the Great Reset needs to be pulled out of that plank and made into its own unique plank. The Great Reset is a set of specific policy initiatives put forward by the World Economic Forum. A great many of the policies that we as Texans, conservatives, and Republicans oppose trace themselves to the Great Reset. Everything from our sending of billions of dollars to Ukraine, to allowing China to invest in our infrastructure and usurp our resources, to the propagation of radical Marxist theories in our schools and in our society, such as critical race theory and queer theory, to ESG governance and social emotional learning. A great many deal of things trace themselves back to the Great Reset policy initiatives. Recognition of this set of initiatives, specifically by name, enables the Texas Republican Party to begin to craft specific legislative initiatives to oppose it. And every single legislative initiative that we're trying to oppose, which traces itself back to the Great Reset. So in summary, I believe we need to pull the Great Reset and make it its own plank so that we can begin to craft specific policy initiatives against it and against the World Economic Forum. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair,
Thank
I'd
you, Mr. Baker.
I'd like to just speak briefly. I want to make sure that you know that in the Business, Commerce, and Transportation section of the report from the Temporary Platform Committee, there is a comprehensive Texas Resistance to Great Reset plank, and I encourage you to go look it up online, the Temporary Platform Committee report. I think it's like line 410 in our report.
Thank you. That concludes our public testimony section for the permanent committee. We are now going to move towards taking up the document. Is the committee ready to move forward with that, or do you guys want to take a break to eat? Or I kind of want to get going. Jason has ordered pizza that'll be here about 8, so which is kind of late. That's when we were supposed to be finished, but I'd rather press through. But I want to put it before the committee.
I agree.
Okay, all right, good. So you should have all gotten, I hope, the email from me this morning. I just forwarded to you what I got from the editorial committee, report of the temporary 2022 Platform and Resolutions Committee. It was what posted. It should be marked rough final report, temp 6/16/2022 with TOC. My plan is we're just going to bring that document up and just start at the top, and we're just going to go down to the bottom. I really don't want to spend a lot of time on stuff we've already done. I was just going to go and take up the things that are highlighted or where there's a question. We have a stack of planks that were submitted properly through the convention secretary, which he brought in earlier. Christina, I think, has those, and as we have planks that come up that relate to things that have been submitted, she will alert us so that we give due consideration to things that were submitted to the convention secretary, and then we'll just kind of go through. So Are there questions about that? Jason, I'll get you in just a second, but are there any other questions about that or concerns with how we're going to proceed? Nope. Jason?
I wanted to ask you two things. One is resolution, that, I know we got one from Gun Owners of America for Rachel Malone that she would like
Yep.
to consider. I'd like to move that one appropriate. And also, I just wanted to let you know, obviously, it was a request from Priorities as they're trying to finish up their work on whether or not that one issue on
Oh, yep.
states
Mhm.
is coming up, and they asked if we might move it up to the top. Consider if we're going to bring it back up at all.
Yeah, let me think about that one. So the resolution will be at the end because that's where it is in our report. So that was going to be the last thing we were going to address. What does the committee want to do with the other issue? I mean, I don't have a motion to consider, so I can't move anything up. So,
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah,
Mr. Chairman, Tony Robertson, SD3.
yep.
Could we go ahead and take up the Convention of States matters so that they can finish their work on legislative priorities?
Okay, are you moving that we?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I second.
Ooh, Diana's got a second. Okay. Well, I guess before we start our work, we'll take that up first thing. Okay, so, Jason, hold on. Before we do that, Tony, just give me a second. Jason, is there anything else that you wanted to add, or is that it?
I was planning on speaking against it when they brought it up, but I'm just trying to honor their work.
Right, okay. So let's go to the Commission of States. Do you guys do we have the one from yesterday? that
Mr.
was
Chairman,
stricken?
I'd sent a language.
Did you?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, new language to the editors.
Okay.
Copied you.
Hold on, and let's pull that up. Okay. Bill, is that, excuse me, Bill, is that a duplicate of what we struck out yesterday, or have you written something new?
That the first, everything except the last sentence. The last sentence is added as a result of my understanding of the language from legislative priorities.
Okay, so the last sentence, so what you did, it was set to sunset, and you've replaced the last sentence. Is that just because you wanted to alter what we were doing yesterday? I mean, that doesn't have anything to do with the
I'll
legislative
take
priorities,
motions
does it?
on it, but I think, the last sentence implies it's still support. But like some of the testimony we heard today is removing that first part from the plank sets, I guess, an unfair expectation across the rest of the country in terms of Texas leading on this issue. So I would want to keep them together. I don't think you can do the first part of that without agreeing to that last sentence. I mean, that last sentence assumes that you believe or you still affirm support.
Well, what I'm trying to get at is I think, and I'm going off memory because it's not my issue, in what was in the platform in 2020, just recognized that it was going to sunset because I thought we had some motions yesterday saying we want to amend the document so that we remove the sunset provision.
And that's
So-
the last sentence. It's
Yeah, I know, that's the
extend.
last sentence. So what I'm
Right.
saying is in what was there in 2020, did it say it will sunset? And
I
you're
don't
adding
believe.
this?
I think that's the language was 2020 is what you're looking at.
Okay, that's not my question. Thank you. Okay, so there's a motion on the floor to adopt this language from Bill that has been seconded to Diana. Do we have discussion? And we're going to hold, just so everybody knows, we're going to hold to our 3-4-3 against 3 minutes per person rule. Okay?
I
don't get to speak for it, or
Yeah. Is your motion, you get to speak first.
All right.
And you're the
Thank you, Mr.
first. You're the first 4.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm not going to debate through the whole history and all that kind of stuff. I'm just